Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of Pew Time. Like I told you last week, special guest, pre-recorded, my good friend, the goat farmer, one of the top, well, actually just top pistol shooters in the world, Mr. Jay Beal.
Hey Tony, it's great to be back on. I'm
Yeah,
excited. It is as someone who hosts occasionally a podcast, it's an honor to be asked back onto a podcast. Um, and so it's an honor to be here. It really is. It's
well, thanks,
uh
man. It's
it's
the
cool.
first honorary thing people say about our podcast. So, yeah, it's great to have you on, man. It's been a while, but
It
you're
has.
a busy, busy dude.
Yeah, there's been a lot going on in the past, I mean, 3 years or whatever, I guess. More than that, I don't know. Every time. All of the time is busy, but in a good
Yeah.
way.
So for those of you that don't know, we'll just let you quickly recap who Jay Beal is and why you should be listening to a farmer.
Oh, I don't know why you should be listening, but you're listening. You're already here listening because you like Tony's podcast. Um,
Like or
I
deal with one of those.
um, so I started shooting, I think 8 years ago now, or in the fall of 2017, I started shooting, um, and I got almost instantly hooked into it big time. I love the game mechanic. I love that there's no such thing as perfection in the game and in the sport because you can always be faster, and therefore you can always get a better score. Uh, and so anyway, I've been training pretty hard, very consistently, for the past 7 or 8 years, and gone to some nationals and finish. I generally am able to finish in the top 10, which is good. And this last year, I went to my first world shoot in South Africa, and was on the production optics team, which it was a goal of mine that I set kind of when I heard about qualification for it, and really kind of a stretch goal that I had seen from watching, like the Top Shot YouTube series and all that stuff. Or was it not? Is it not Top Shot, or is it which
Uh,
is the one that they followed, like Max Michel and
Hot
KG?
Shots.
Hot Shots, not Top
Yeah.
Shots, different. Yeah. But yeah, Hot Shots. And seeing that kind of dynamic, I guess that was the lead up to World Shoot in 2014 in the US. And so it's been kind of like, oh, maybe, in a dreamland, I could go to a world shoot, like I could make a team and go to a world shoot. And so it kind of happened. It was wild. It's amazing.
It's one of those things. I think if more people watch those, that series is kind of old now, but it's still
It is.
cool to go watch it. If you're a hyper competitor like you are, deep down, or anyone, it's it's a cliche because it's said all the time, but it is very true. I mean, the world shoot is our Olympics
Yeah.
in practical shooting. So if you want to really test yourself against the best and see where you stand, that's at World Shoot. And that's apparently what you wanted to do, and you did quite well.
Yeah. I mean, we did. I ended up, I think the main goal for me was to help the team and kind of to win gold, and that we did not end up doing that. We we came a little bit short on that. The French team was very, very strong. Uh,
Yeah, that's
so
that's
we'll get it.
putting it lightly.
We'll get into that a little bit more. But yeah, so we ended up taking the silver. And then individually, I ended up in sixth, in production optics, which it was the biggest division at the match. It was close right there with production. And so yeah, I'm not disappointed severely by any of it. So that's good. Obviously, there's things that I would change, things that I would do differently, but that's why you put yourself at risk of failing because then you learn stuff. So
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, there is a difference. Like you can go to World Shoot as a singles competitor and still be there and wear like a cool jersey, or you can go there and be selected to represent your country and be a member of the team, which is what you did. You actually made the team.
Yeah, and there's like there's the qualification process to that. And so for 2 years, 2023 and 2024, there's qualifying matches so that you earn points, and then they take the top four. They take the top four and create a team to represent the U.S. In per division. And so, yeah, so you have to show up to the qualifying matches, which is one thing, and then you have to shoot consistently at, in this case for qualification, it was 3 out of 4 qualifying matches, and so you get one throw away. So, which was US Nationals and US IPSC Nationals in 23 and in 2024. So yeah, for both those years, it was Carry Optics Nationals and then IPSC Nationals. And so it's traveling all over the US, wherever those may be, kind of sacrificing time that you would spend doing other things probably. I mean, I'm the kind of person who would shoot happily 1 Nationals a year. And so to have to change that a little bit and structure, the peaking of your skill in a way that lines up is all it's a big deal to organize just in itself. And so yeah, it's a whole thing. There was a lot of time, a lot of effort into it, but yeah, ultimately it was worth it. I think for sure it was worth it.
Yeah, I couldn't imagine having, not to mention for you, unlike most shooters, every major match is far for you.
Yeah, I drive to one major match, which is Area 7, which the closest has been to me is 2 hours away, which is pretty nice, but it's usually like 6-7 hours away. So everything else you just fly to, and that's the normal for me. So it's it is what it is.
Nice. So let's jump into the training leading up to World Shoot, because I'd imagine when you made that decision, talking about qualifying matches and getting your points and shooting consistently, I'd imagine your training, you had to kind of reassess and kind of be more aggressive. Like, what was your take on changing up the training?
Yeah, I mean, the training, it's tricky for me. I've wanted to make big changes, and then oftentimes I'll reflect in a certain way and think, well, maybe I don't need to make huge changes. Maybe I just need to increase volume and play it a little bit more safe. And I think in the past couple of years, I played it safe as far as making huge changes to what I've been doing. And so the only big change that I made was I shot a bunch more live fire this in 2025 leading up to the World Shoot. And then
I know you were famously known for shooting a obscene low amount of live fire.
Yeah, I shot. I mean, I think I used to not shoot hardly any, and based a lot of my improvement in dry fire. And then the last couple of years, knowing it was qualifications, I shot I think maybe 15,000 rounds and then 20,000 rounds, and then it was for the World Shoot year I shot close to 50,
which is a big change from shooting your 3,000 to 5,000 rounds.
Yeah, so the first leading up, my first nationals was in 2020, and I shot in total that year 2,800 rounds, I think. And then the year after that, I think I shot 5,000 or so. And I don't think I went to nationals in 2021, but then in 2022, it's like 7,000. And then 23, 24, 25, I started making bigger jumps. And that's definitely like associated with some help with sponsors for sure, with Walther coming in 2022, and then Summit City Bullets being a big reason why I could shoot more. because I was funding a lot of my shooting based off of bullets that I won off of prize tables. I'd be like, oh yeah, bullet cert, like here we go. I think my first nationals in 2020, I picked a $1,000 cert for blue bullets, and I was set for a while.
That's
So,
half a year's training for you.
oh, I mean, it was all of 3 years of training for me. I think I got like almost 20,000 bullets out of that. Um, so, or at least when the prices were there, I don't know what they would be now, but
I misheard. It was $1,000, not 1,000 bullets.
yeah, $1,000 worth of blue
Wow.
bullets.
Yeah,
And
you were good for a while.
so I was like, cool, I can shoot now. Um, so yeah, it was the main difference I made was just increase volume and train to be prepared for any kind of to be prepared for any skill that I'm going to be tested on at World Shoot.
Which you would, if you look at past world shoots and like a lot of foreign matches, you start to see more often the oddities that we have here. Weekend,
Yep.
short stages that have a lot of movement.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of that stuff. I mean, so I really started 2023 doing strong hand weekend dry fire every single day. And that's the first thing I do. A lot of transfers back and forth between hands, trying to make it so that whenever I pick up the gun with either hand only, then it feels very comfortable. And that, I think, was huge, even just that piece. So just transferring the gun back and forth, getting a sight picture, and so that when you have to pick up a gun in IPSC at a world shoot with a lot of pressure on, without using your other hand to assist, because that's one of the rules, you can do it. You can pick up the gun off the table and get a good grip and hit the targets. And so, yeah, a lot of that stuff, I mean, this world shoot was a little different, as in we had a good representation of what the match might be like based off of the African Handgun Championship that I think Eric Camps went to, and we got to see video from that from some guys, and got a bit of a picture that the match may not be like some previous world shoots as far as difficulty. So that played into it as well.
Technical.
Yeah, just like the targets are going to be closer. There may not be crazy swingers at distance, and there wasn't. I wasn't surprised by the match. I think when we got there, it was like, wow, everything's a lot closer than what I thought. Yeah.
Hmm.
But even then, it was surprising, but I was not shocked. Yeah.
So you basically changed. The only change to your training was, hey, my training's working. I'm just going to up the frequency of it.
Yeah, up the frequency, up the volume, and I don't think I would change it going into it again. I think, there's always been a piece of my training that needs to be ramped up more, not necessarily my training, but my match behavior that needs to be a bit more aggressive. And so that's obviously going to be something going forward for sure.
Okay.
That I'm not going to feel as like I need to play it as safe anymore.
So what are you doing to kind of train and get yourself into that mindset quicker?
Well, I think it's shooting local matches without any fear at all. I mean, obviously fear of being unsafe is always present, like I'm going to be safe, but
Sure.
I won't have fear of making mistakes, so that I can learn how to. I think that I don't know exactly what I'm going to learn from it. So that's the goal, is to get faster, but it's going to be shooting and probably finding out. My guess would be finding out how fast that I can go faster and still shoot very accurately, which I already know, but I'm going to find that out and gain more confidence in that. So that's the biggest part, is the local matches, behavior change there.
So essentially, I mean, I'm going to see if I'm getting this right. You're going to train this way to essentially see if you can raise your ceiling.
Yeah.
So that you have more above, say you shoot your match. This is arbitrary numbers. They mean nothing. If your match mode is 85%, you want to now raise your ceiling so that your new 85% is where your 95%.
Yeah, I mean that right there would be perfect for me. Yes, that would be amazing. I mean, I shot the whole 30 stages at World Shoot with, I didn't have any deltas, no mics, no shoots.
Yeah, it's going to be that's insane.
And part of that's the target difficulty, but also part of that is shooting very much in control the entire time.
Yeah.
And I had some pickups on steel, but not many. There and a lot of transition to a target, double check that I'm in the center of the target, and then start pulling trigger. That kind of stuff. So it's like, yeah, that's not like that will result in a good score as far as points go and everything, but it's not always the best for getting the highest hit factor.
So it's a double-edged sword. Then everyone's congratulating on you, like, "Oh my God, Jay didn't get a single penalty," and then you're thinking, "Oh my God, Jay was so slow, he didn't get a single penalty."
Yeah, I mean, I think I shot the match kind of the best that I could at the time, but knowing like I know based off of stuff that I've done in training that my ceiling can be a lot higher. And so I don't know, I'm really excited about working on that. And I think it's just a big, it causes myself to I feel fear going into a local match of missing, or I have in the past. And so I was able to, even just this fall going shoot a match and let go of that. And then instantly things become a lot more fun. And I'm a lot faster. So I don't know. It's good. It's good.
Oh, good for you. Sounds like it's going to be, well, sounds like you're going to be pushing really hard to make the team again for production optics for Italy.
Yeah, I think that's definitely the goal for sure.
Okay.
And we'll see. I mean, we don't know. I mean, there's so many people and competitors that are getting so good that are already good that are going to be trying to qualify as well. And so it's always like I do want the best team to go. And if I'm part of that team, then that's awesome. And if not, then whoever's on that team is better than me and should be on that team. So yeah, it's gonna be very exciting to watch the qualification process as just as a fan for the other divisions, and just I don't know, it's exciting to go into that for sure.
Do you? I guess while we're talking about the divisions, I'll just ask you real quick. Do you see it being watered down in any of the other divisions qualifying for this now that IPSC has an optics division, which would be like our lim ops?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be watered down a little bit. I think my guess is open is going to get pulled from. So people who shot open are going to probably go and shoot optics, and some people who've shot production optics were going to go and shoot optics. So I think optics is probably going to be a tough team to make. And then in the same kind of sense, production optics will always be a hard team to make, but it's going to be people are going to get pulled from that division that we're going to shoot that we're going to shoot production optics that are going to now shoot optics. And yeah, so it'll always be it'll get shifted quite a bit, I think.
I think just logistically, the open shooters are going to be like, holy crap, I can just find ammo there if I need it. What a relief.
Yeah, I mean, it just causes so much less stress. And so I don't know, we'll see what the guys do, the top guys in open do, if they're going to stay in open or if they're going to go. And I mean, I always want to try and qualify for teams or shoot matches that have the most amount of competition. But at the same time, it makes sense for me to stay in production optics. And not everyone else thinks that way. Like, I don't know if everybody in open is going to want to go and try and qualify in optics because it might be harder. Who knows? It's always interesting to see. So,
all right. So we kind of talked about your training leading up to it, except I'd imagine, because you talked about getting learning to peak in your training for a match. What was that timetable leading up to World Shoot? How far out were you
Yeah,
in World Shoot, like a legit World Shoot training?
I think I gave myself. I think I really started training like January, February last year. So about we're in January, middle of January right now. So about a year ago, I started training or started to really pick up training, leading into the end of September World Shoot. And so it was a pretty long build up towards that, with some matches along the way. But yeah, it started last winter. I did a special trip to Florida to train with some guys down there in warm weather, so that I didn't have to shoot in the snow up here, and that kind of kicked things off. And then from then on, it was a lot of live fire, a lot of plowing snow to clear up my range, to keep stuff set up, and a lot of loading ammo that I did. So I kind of doubled up things during the winter. I loaded a lot of ammo, kept on training, and then during the summer, then I had all my ammo loaded so I could just shoot, which was great.
How'd the breakdown work for you? Do you have it set to where, I mean, you're going to be doing mostly dry fire and you'll live fire? Do you schedule it out where it's like once a week? Do you do multiple dry fires? Does your live fire increase the closer you get?
Yeah, it did. So I started out a couple times a week, I think, during the winter, and then as I got closer, I would just budget out days. So I knew I had this certain amount of ammo, so I could shoot 200 rounds 3 times a week, and then ramping that up to the point where I was shooting 6-7 days a week, and then the last couple of weeks leading up to World Shoot, I was shooting 6 or 7 days a week, 2 times a day, in 300 rounds a session, so 600 rounds, 700 rounds a day, for a couple of weeks, and I don't know if it's the best way to do it, but what it did do is it made the recoil and live fire very, very comfortable. Because at that point, I'm not dry firing that much. Because I'm shooting, going out to the range twice a day, and so the dry fire got cut back. So my only gun handling was live fire, uh, which was really cool. I'd never done that before, and it is so much fun. I love training. Maybe getting to shoot, twice a day, every single day for 3 or 4 weeks in a row is amazing. I can't do that. I'm not going to be able to do that this year. Or maybe I will. Maybe I won't live fire at all, and then I'll just push all my live fire to
Oh no.
a time. But I think it's the most responsible way to do it is to space it out and shoot, once a week for longer periods of time. But I don't know. It was really fun.
Cool. Well, that was the training up to it. Let's talk about at it. How was it kind of? I mean, this is your first foreign match?
Yes. Yeah. First match outside of the US.
Okay.
So a lot of details went into getting there. I think there's plenty of people who've talked about that on other podcasts or different places, but getting there, and I'm gonna miss some of this, but I got there almost a week before the match, and I stayed with friends of mine who live there, so they picked me up, and they also they were shooting the match. They were both on the production optics team for the men and women, so they both competed for South Africa on Team South Africa, and so I got to train with them for 4 or 5 days at a different range, kind of just getting used to things, and that was amazing. Like, that's the most memorable part about it. I guess outside of the match, but it's still in the same vein, like very, very memorable. And then the last day or two there, we got to train with Etzel Gino, who finished 4th in the match. And obviously he's an amazing shooter. He came over and finished 2nd in Carry Optics Nationals in 2024. and also Thomas Shoots, which he has a YouTube channel. I don't know if you know his channel, but he does like vlog style videos. He's from the Philippines as well.
Okay. I
Um,
think I have seen him. Yeah.
yeah, so he came over. We trained with both of them, and it was really, I don't know. That was a huge piece as well, just to see how those guys are shooting and see how Etzel is shooting, and just like the speed of everything that he does. Transition speed, and getting to talk to him about some of that, and yeah, so that was very, very memorable. And then obviously getting down to World Shoot, getting to see the range, the stages, all of the, you know, like the flags, the every bit of it, opening ceremony. Yeah, that whole experience was very special.
It seemed quite elaborate. I mean, you kind of see it every World Shoot or all the big matches, whether it's the like Australasia, they do a big one.
Yeah,
This kind of
yeah.
seemed the same thing. It was very, I mean, again, it's cliche, but it was very Olympic like.
Yeah, I think a lot of people, kind of including myself, had lower expectations for the opening ceremony, just kind of gauging again off of African Handgun Championship and kind of seeing what they were doing there. And so I don't know, South Africa kind of stepped it up a lot, and it was really cool. Yeah, it was good.
So, what was your schedule like for World Shoot?
So what is it? A 6-day match, and we get one day off. And so I think I had the third day off. So it's a short. I should reframe this. I think Eric Camps. You did a podcast with him, right, about World Shoot?
Okay.
Yeah, I think he explained it. I remember thinking that he explained it really well. So if you want a better explanation than you're about to get, you should listen to that one. But so I think I had the first. Yeah, so we would shoot 6 stages a day for 5 days with a day off. And so I shot AM schedule the first day. So it was 6:30 in the morning. It was just getting light. The sun was coming up over the berm. And you shoot 6 stages in under 2 hours. So it's very fast, because they're shooting, 4 flights a day. So then, next day, same thing. And then the third day I had off, and just I hung out, rested that day. I was able to shoot on the property I was staying on as well, and there was like a little berm there, so I did some shooting in between that. Also, if for an afternoon session, I would go out and shoot in the morning, um, and and then back at it for 3 days in a row to finish out the match. Uh, and yeah, so that's the schedule. Very fast paced, way faster than anything that we will ever see in the US.
Okay. Did you like it better?
Uh, I kind of do like it. Yeah, it's kind of impossible to do here, but yeah, you show up, you have small squads, staff reset is happening, so you warm up, and then you stay warm for the entire day. Uh, it's none of like, hour and a half, hour 45 minutes between stages that you usually see at a nationals here or whatever.
Hmm.
Uh, So I liked that format as far as staying warm and staying connected, but I think it fits the IPSC format with a lot of shorter stages as well. So yeah, for the match, I think it worked out great.
Okay. Was it common for the competitors to show up a week before? Were there a lot of you there already?
I don't think too many people got there that far ahead of time. I think most everybody else got there 2 or 3, 4 days ahead of time.
Okay.
Just to acclimate to the time difference. That was a little funky. It took a few days, and I don't think I was there for almost 2 weeks. I don't think I ever fully acclimated to the time.
What is the time difference there? What is that? How many hours?
Uh, I mean, it's not crazy. I think they're 7 hours ahead of Eastern time here. Um, and so it always felt a little bit off, and it pretty quickly felt normal when I got back. Um, so yeah, I don't know. Even though like I would try to go to bed, it's just I would always get up pretty early, and I don't know. It was interesting, but a good challenge.
That's good. All right. So, are there any memorable stages that stick out to you from World Shoot?
Yeah. There was there's a couple of stages. There's a prone stage that we had that I didn't end up shooting that well, but it was memorable just because it's a prone stage, and I was really looking forward to it. Um, and and I had a few too many makeups on a piece of steel, and but they're short stages, so I think that was my worst stage of the match. So memorable in that way. And then one of my best stages in the match was stage 10. And I should say a lot of these stages I was following Eric Camps, who shot the pre-match, and he would post up videos, which was super helpful. So especially early in the match, I could see, I went on I would look at his Instagram, and then I would screen record a bunch of it so I could kind of have it saved and at instant access to it. And I was able to get a good picture for the stages. So that helped a bunch. But it was stage 10, and there was a couple of bobbing plates, so steel plates that would bob up at the end. And so there was the back section of the stage was there was some further targets and then some close stuff. And then up front, there was a really aggressive activator sequence to then finish on the bobbing plates, and ended up shooting that one really well. I got beat by two people on it, I guess, or one. I forget. Two. No, I think Eric and Emil, who finished 1 and 2 at the match, beat me on that stage. But I was close. And so that's definitely the most memorable one. It was a good one, along with the prone stage that was memorable in a different kind of way.
Nice. Did you during the whole match? Who were you squatted with?
Okay, so yeah, we squatted. They were 8-person squads.
Oh, that is
so very small. We were squatted with the Team USA for production optics. So that's JJ, Jacob, Tom Castro, and myself, and then the Thai team from Thailand. So I think they won at the last World Shoot. So they squad the teams together, or they won for teams, or they were second for teams, or something like that. And then they squad those two countries together for the following World Shoot.
How was that?
I mean, the dynamic as far as like working with the team and US actually was worked out well. We were all talking to each other, sharing stage plans, exactly what you would want to have happen, because you have the team score in the back of your mind the entire time. And a lot of people, even if they're not looking specifically at individual scores, they're definitely keeping track and paying attention to the team scores. And so we all work together in that sense, I think, really well.
I think it's hard for people to grasp that, because we're such an individual sport 99% of the time.
Yeah. And that aspect is really fun, because in such a different way, because I've shot with these guys before. Actually, I hadn't shot with Tom before, but I've shot with JJ and Jacob a handful of times now. And it's different in the sense of, someone has a good stage, someone has a bad stage, and your reaction is way more open as far as when you see someone do well, when you see JJ do well on a stage, you really want him to do well. It's not that you ever really want your competition to mess up at a US Nationals, but you don't think of it as them gaining points on you or anything like that. You just at the World Shoot, because of the team score, you're cheering for your team a lot more, and you're really trying to help them out if they need to make a correction or anything like that. And so that part is amazing. And then like the team dynamic is so tricky. You have another question on that later, so maybe we'll laugh.
Oh, we can do it now. I mean, we're talking about it. So I asked a couple guys for questions that I asked online, because people were excited that you were going to come back on the show. And one of them was, I'd like to know more about the team dynamics of Team USA based on some of Hunter Constantine's YouTube video series that he did on World Shoot, which if you haven't watched, go watch. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I think Hunter did such a good job putting, making that happen. And then John Gattuso, who filmed a bunch of it, him and uh, Alex Gay, I think, filmed the rest of it, but and edited everything. I mean, such a huge project to take on, and very, very cool, and really cool to be part of as well.
Yeah, they had a nice solo piece on you.
Yeah, that was fun. That was really fun. Uh, but yeah, as far as
The
that,
base of the question is, they based on that video series, it seems like they don't exactly like each other. And did they
yeah,
put that aside for the World Shoot team?
I think as far as what was, I, it's tricky because what was shown was a lot like when if Tom Castro is talking, like you have to film Tom talk. So like obviously you're going to get a lot of that, and then you're not going to get, so Jacob doesn't talk that much, and so you're obviously not going to get a lot there, but as I think that episode shows or makes it look a lot more divisive than it was, especially with, like, because you got to make it, you got to dramatize things a little bit and make it, amp things up more than they may be in certain elements. And so um I think I was I think I remember talking to the guys on the second day, and we were all I think I was talking to JJ specifically too, just saying like, wow, this is better than I thought it might be, and it's actually working really well. It's talking about, getting along together as a team, and working with Tom, because Tom was added late. We that was this
Oh yeah, he was an
going into
alternate.
that match. He was the alternate, and we had Max Michel initially, and so I think a lot of us were thinking like that we'll be going in with Max, um, and so it'd be Jacob, JJ, myself, and Max on the team, and so to get a late ad from Tom, and to be able to work together on the stages was, I was a bit surprised as well with just how well that went. Um, and then for me, it's my first time shooting with Tom as well, and so getting to kind of feel out that dynamic. And I think for a lot of the guys, I guess I don't know if we had all shot together before at any match. And so, yeah, Tom's personality is different than everybody's, and
He's an
it's
he's an intense dude. I mean, I've been around.
super intense. Yeah, he cares about the game so much, and so for a lot of people, it's hard to see that and react in a positive way. I think, if you don't, if you don't know him, or if you don't spend time to get to know him or anything like that. But yeah, the dynamic was definitely interesting. It was definitely, there's times during the match where you're just smiling, or you're just like, wow, I can't believe that just happened. Like what's going on right now? So, but that was far and it was not like that the entire time. So yeah, I think it was definitely interesting, but it was a positive experience.
You said you guys were sharing stage plans, which is a given. Did you notice other teams also collaborating, like sharing stage plans, talking through? I'm sure it was a common thing.
Yeah, I think right off, I remember on the first stage talking to one of the guys on the Thai team, and starting to joke around with them in a good way, and then kind of getting a picture for what the match was going to be like, and it ended up being that way where we could talk to them as well, yeah, about sequences, about stages, and it all kind of so in a sense we were working together as well, and at the same time too, for other people that you weren't even shooting with, getting to talk to guys from different countries who had shot stages that you were about to shoot and asking them about things. um yeah, it was a good experience in that sense, at least for me, and I think that was exaggerated in a couple ways, but just with the squad that I was on. But yeah, it was a positive experience for me. I think some other people had some tricky times on their squads, and we talk about that on the Hit Factor podcast. A plug for the other podcast.
Yes, which is very good because I think you guys put out 3 episodes centered around Worlds.
I think so. Yeah,
all very good, even though you were falling asleep, but all very good.
Yeah, we did those in a row. That's wild. And those are really cool because Bob Crow is a part of those, and Bob Crow is he's so good at speaking and at relaying stories, and yeah, so he was a really cool guy to get to hang out.
No. The last question dealing kind of with the team dynamic and aspect was, as far as team strategy goes, did you guys factor in, or did you use something like if someone was up first and you guys were unsure of how you should run a stage, did they go up as kind of the sacrifice to test something to?
That kind of thing. I mean, there weren't enough stages that required much of that.
Okay.
You know, like we would see pretty quick. There wasn't a ton of discussion on it. There was one stage where it had a couple of bobbing targets, and it was like an 8-round stage. Maybe if they're, so I guess on a couple of the sequences there was discussion there, but pretty quickly it was revealed that there's only one way to do it anyway, and so it's not like shooting it more conservatively after someone maybe messed up the most aggressive sequence is the best plan. It was like, here's the sequence, everybody's going to have to do that. Especially, which I think we had the French squad following us, and so there was some discussion kind of back and forth with them as well on plans, and when you're competing against those guys, like you have to do, there are elements to a stage that you just have to do. And so I think more so it was based off the flavor of the match that wasn't a larger element of someone up early in the order would be kind of testing.
I gotcha. Okay. So overall, Africa had a good time.
Yes.
Yeah. Did 6. I mean, how was the ceremony at the end?
Awards at the end was just a very long time. I think it lasted for like 10 hours. I don't think it was that, but it was a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was fun in its own way. I mean, like a lot of the time was hanging out with Jacob and JJ and Tom and joking around with them and getting to cheer on for when your friends got up there and got awards. And so yeah, that was a special memory as far as it goes, just because that's it. The awards for so many are what it's all about in a good way. And so you got to kind of be a part of that, which is cool.
Yeah, cool. I guess we'll finalize probably the most important question that I got pertaining to South Africa.
Okay.
Is, did you find any Legos in South Africa?
Oh, no, I did not. I was thinking that we would go to a store, maybe get some Legos, but it didn't happen. There was an opportunity. Maybe we went to a mall one time that I could have found some, but no, I did not. I didn't even bring any with me. I had other people asking if I had Legos with me, though.
I think you need to throw it in your range bag.
I really should.
Really get your little little dime bag size and just put a few in there and just Jay's chain.
I know. I'd have to choose kind of wisely though, because there are pieces that I need to build sets. I can't just give them away.
Oh, we'll find a way. We'll find a way to find those. What you can just order like the certain bricks or whatever.
I suppose.
All right, so you're back home. I'd imagine after this you didn't want to touch a gun for a while.
I don't know. I mean, I always want to handle a gun and do a little bit of dry fire, so I kept that up. I mean, every morning I just pick up the gun for a couple minutes.
Makes you the shooter you are.
and it's comforting to do that. So I have not stopped doing that. That just happens every day. But definitely, like, the intensity of that and the duration were cut way back. Gives myself some time to reflect a little bit more on the year, come up with a plan, let myself heal up as far as my hands, and kind of, yeah, I definitely gave myself a break, and I still am to a certain degree, but yeah, I didn't put things away permanently. I would feel too bad about that. I would just be like, I just want to get back to it.
Yeah, well, okay. Well, that makes. I mean, there are some people where I know they're like, "Yep, put it away, not touching it for 2 weeks," and there are guys like you and a few others I know that they still have to do something. They can't shut it off. It still needs to be like in sleep mode, but it can't be shut off.
Yeah. I told myself a while ago that I was gonna dry fire every day in some form for 10 years. I was just gonna do that, and so I'm a decent way into that. And it may continue further out, but maybe when I get to 10 years, I'll stop dry firing every
Well,
single day.
hold on a second. Let's go through that again. You said you would dry fire every day for 10 years.
Yeah, because I think, and I actually think I misheard somebody. I think Phil Strader said on a podcast or something that or maybe I didn't mishear it, but he was like, yeah, so he was talking about when he was gonna try and make GM, and he was like, I'm just gonna dry fire every day for a year. And then I was like, well, I'll try doing that for 10 years. Um, so then, so that's what I'm trying to do. Um,
Okay. So I want people to understand he has made a 10-year commitment for dry fire, and most of you have trouble committing to 30 days.
y- yeah, I mean, it helps for me, personality wise. It helps if I make things a little bit absurd.
Some
Um,
would call that psychopath, but that's
yeah,
just
yeah. I don't know. It's funny, and there's a lot of stuff in my life that well, I shouldn't say a lot. There are many things that I have been and become obsessive with. Uh, and then now, as I get a little bit older, it's just recognizing if that's going to be beneficial or not. Sometimes it's not.
okay.
Sometimes it is. Um, but yeah, be smart. But the 10-year thing, yeah, it's funny how quickly it get there. I was pretty heavy into it in 2017, and it has not stopped.
Well, that plays into one of the next questions. You've been going hard since 2017, like you said. How do you stay motivated to do the training that you do day after day with all the rest of life going on? I mean, you're a father, you are a farmer, which for those of you that don't know and don't have friends that are farmers, it's a lot of work. There's a lot of time involved with it. And I mean, everything else that just life happens. How do you stay motivated to train the way that you do?
I don't know.
Great answer.
I uh, I think it comes back to some of the, like, that I am obsessive about certain things, and that I know, through experience, that if there are times that I don't necessarily feel motivated about something, there is always a wave to that. There's a time where that feeling will come and that feeling will go. And um and so there are certain things that I keep in my routine that I keep there, and I keep them simple enough so that I can sustain them for long periods of time. So I'm not dry firing for 6 hours a day, because that's unsustainable because you get injured.
Mhm.
I am dry firing for a responsible amount of time every day, and I'm doing, I'm training, physical training to prevent injury so that I can continue doing that. And none of these things are occupying so much time in my life that I can't spend time with my kids, or do things around the house that are necessary,
Well, break it down for me. Don't give me the vague answer. Like, what do you dry fire? Like, time wise, what's your dry fire in a day?
So right now it's probably about 10-15 minutes in the morning.
Okay.
And that's coupled with some of the other things I do. So, I do a cold bath right in the morning, first thing. I'll do hand exercises with these iron, what is this? Iron Mind hand
Yeah, the
bands,
spreaders.
the spreaders, rubber
Yeah.
bands. They're just rubber bands. They're just fancy rubber bands. And because I've noticed, I get hand injuries from dry fire. And so preventing injury that way, and then keeping, like I'll have a rotation for that. So, I always do push-ups, pull-ups. I do, exercises for my legs to prevent injury there, especially if I'm, running here in the wintertime. And then as the season goes on, like that dry fire, it'll be shorter sessions, which is a big part to prevent burnout and to prevent injury. And so it'll be multiple times a day that I'll do a session. So maybe in the middle of the day, I'll do a 10-15 minutes. At night, I'll do 10-15 minutes. And then it's coupled with, 15-20 minutes in the morning. And so I'm spreading things out in a way that I don't get burned too hard on it.
So in totality, we got about 10-15 minutes dry fire. How long do you plunge for?
Until I feel like I could stay in for longer.
So what's that time lapse for you?
It fluctuates. So maybe it's a minute, maybe it's 3 minutes. So not long.
How about your workout?
Workout is like 5-10 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So not super long.
Yeah.
And then if I'm not, so if it's the off season, which it is right now, then I'll occupy that rest of the time in the day where, I'll go for a run for 45 minutes an hour. And where usually in the summer that would be occupied by shooting or dry firing again. And so my time commitment's not huge. I forgot to add in loading ammo because that's part of this as well. So
Sure.
10-15 minutes a day loading ammo. Or podcasting. There's one of those as well. So I will certainly have time after we're done to load some ammo as well. So
Okay. So aside from your elongated workout for running in the off season, we're just talking about in season training, like your normal training schedule. We haven't even cracked. So 15 minutes for dry fire, 3 minutes cold plunge, 10 minutes workout, 15 minutes loading ammo. We're at 43 minutes.
yeah, and then plus live fire.
Okay.
So adding another 30 minutes for live fire during the year. So we're at like an hour 20, which is that sounds about right. I've tracked it before. There are times where I've tracked it and I have spent 4 hours training, essentially specific. So like where that volume gets kicked up, where if I'm live firing twice a day, that's an hour, and then I'm doing 3 dry fire sessions or whatever, or so I think that fluctuating it also helps. But I think for having a baseline of 30 to 45 minutes in total that always gets done or most of the time gets done, then it's something that can be sustained.
And I think it's important that people hear. That's why I had to break it down, because there are some people, when you talk to them, especially when they get into the sport and they look at top guys like yourself, they think that you're doing the 1,000 rounds a day, 4 or 5 days a week. Like it's just not the case.
No, and it's not sustainable. You get hurt, you get burned out, and you quit. And then we see that all the time.
Yeah, we've seen plenty of guys that came in, shot to the top right away. Holy crap, you're going to do this. You're going to be really good at this. And then in the next year or so, they're gone.
Yeah. I think it's really hard to balance that, especially in the beginning when there's so much passion for, like, there's so much new exciting things happening and you're seeing a lot of improvement really quick, that when you get pretty good, that improvement takes a lot longer.
Sure.
And so it's tricky to balance. And I think that's a big part of it, as far as trying to balance out what the appropriate amount of training is.
Right. So with the training and talking about fluctuating it, that kind of leads to another question. How do you train? And this is also a very selfish question for me because this is my plan for this year with spacing out my matches,
Yeah.
is giving me multiple times to be able to train for peak. But then once that match is done, give me a moment to where it is just picking the gun up for 10 minutes a day, being okay with it. Give me a little bit of a rest period to ramp back up. Is that something that you do?
Oh yeah, for sure. So there will be, I first identify the matches that are of most importance. So for this coming year, it's uh, Factory Gun Nationals and then US IPSC Nationals, which is 2 weeks after that. So I find those matches, and then I do my best, which is tricky to plan matches kind of leading up to that, but I'll plan out ideally, you know, 3 matches that are spaced out leading into that are maybe level 2, level 3 matches. Um, and I put them about a month apart so that I have, I'm going to check my skill in April. I'm going to check my skill in May or June, and then I'm going to check it again July, August. And based off of all of that, I'll have a direction for training that'll lead me into the big ones. But again, same thing, like after each of those matches, I'm probably going to take a little dip in that wave. So we'll ramp up a little bit to a level 2, and then I'll take a little dip to kind of assess things, and then I'll ramp back up, uh, and so on up until the match, um, or up until those matches that I care maybe most about. Um, and I'll allow myself to do that. Even I think a lot of it will look like not shooting live fire, uh, and it'll look like normal dry fire. And then I'll ramp up the live fire leading up to a match. And I do this with locals anyway too, like because my attention will be like, oh, I've got a match this weekend. So
Mhm.
then I'll ramp up gun handling to that match. Uh,
What's your timetable look like compared to like a local? Is it just a few days? Is it a week?
oh, for a local, it'll be like 5 days or something like that. But it's not really strict. It's just I'll know it, and then I'll have this in my mind that, oh yeah, I've got that coming up. So I'm gonna want to be kind of brushed up on some skills going into that.
Does that
Um,
timetable change when it becomes a level 2 or a 3?
yeah, yeah. And again, I'm not super strict with it. I really keep it based around feel a lot. So it depends on what I'm feeling leading into that. But yeah, level 2, level 3, it'll be, yeah, a couple weeks. It'll be 3 weeks, and then with that big goal match in the future, I'll have that in my mind as well as I start to get, you know, 3-4 months away from there.
Okay.
And I think that, yeah, I base it a lot off a feel and on how
Okay.
I'm feeling, uh, how my connection with the gun is, and if that's not where I want it to be, then I'll get it there.
All right. Can you go through your kind of your thought process when you say you're going to check your skill? Like I mean, obviously, yes. Hey, am I shooting good? Am I hitting this? But like specifically, what do you look for to bring back? I assume you're going to bring that back to training to have that as your focus.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be different. And again, I don't know exactly what it will be. So when I check my skill, I'm talking as well about my behavior at a match. Was I for me, I'm never really too crazy, and so I'm looking for that. I'm looking to maybe go beyond my ability at some of these level 2s, level 3s. Uh, and so it'll be asking myself, did I hold myself to that standard? Did I did I shoot as early as I could on all of these entries during this match? Or did I get a little afraid of, having to shoot extras on stuff? Did I take the most aggressive activator sequence? Those kind of things. So asking myself those questions, and then it'll be an assessment on the physical skills, like how's my draw, how are my transitions, how are my reloads, how did those things play out during the match. So, but I think for me this year, it's going to be a lot on the mental side, on how, like, did I hold myself to the standard of being aggressive in places that I needed to be.
Maybe we should get you like a Build-A-Bear and have Tom do the voice record and just take that with you to matches.
I don't know. I wonder if that would be helpful. I wonder.
I mean, imagine like you just go to your range cart and like press it, and you just hear Castro's voice going, "Let's fucking go!"
Oh man, I don't know. I wonder. I don't think that would work for me, but maybe for some people it would. I know it's in his head. I know it's in his head. So it helps him. That's funny though.
All right. You seem to be the king of low round count, very deliberate practice. Now, for people that don't have access to a ton of rounds, that want to maximize what they can for dry fire and a little bit of live fire, like, do you have any tips? Is there something you can share as someone that's done it? Like,
yeah, and obviously this has changed for me in the past few years, but the biggest piece is going into a live fire session with a plan and not changing it. I think that's something that a lot of people say, but having an idea of what you want to work on, and for me especially, having it be one thing. Usually if I get beyond one or two things, then it's too much, so my attention gets pulled away from it. So having one drill or one idea that I want to test, and then going to a session and testing that. And the other thing is just going, like, if you want to make each round valuable, then going to the range with only a certain amount of rounds is a really good way to do that. If you load up 5 mags and that's all you bring, then you're going to pay attention a little bit more. You're probably going to do a little bit more dry fire in between reps, even though I don't usually do that, but I'm going to probably go into that session ready with, and that means that I've dry fired a little bit of the idea that I want to before, maybe a couple days before a live fire session, and kind of figured out the stupid things that I was going to expose anyway already, so that I don't show up and I can't, draw the gun right, and I'm trying to shoot with a bad grip. So I'm probably going to go into that live fire session understanding what a good grip is, or at least an idea.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of thing.
Okay.
For sure.
What is this was another one of the questions that was submitted, and we kind of covered it, but your fitness regimen is very simple. There's a lot of barefoot running. Do you still do that, you psychopath?
I do, if it's not wintertime. If I learned that I should wear shoes in the wintertime. And I couldn't have learned from, like the intelligent way, which would be to realize that it's cold and you should probably wear shoes. I did it in the way that is, you go out and you run until your feet get so cold that you get whatever. There's a name for it. That's like the stage right before frostbite, where it damages nerve endings in your toes. Anyway, so I damaged my feet, so, and then the following winter I did it again. This is very easy to prevent. By either listening to your feet and saying, "Oh, my toes are cold, I should go inside." So that's step one. Step two is just maybe you just wear shoes. But in the summer, yeah, I do run with bare feet. Yeah, that one's relatively safe.
All right. Well, aside from the barefoot running, Like, what's your fitness look like? Is it concentric around just healthy living? Is it very practical shooting focused?
Yeah, so the practical shooting focused bit is a lot on hand and forearm strength training, but more specific to prevent injury that goes on there. So like wrist injuries are really common, or like tennis elbow, shooter's elbow, that kind of stuff. And so I have specific exercises I do with the bands to keep my wrists strong. I think rice bucket would be really good to get into. I haven't done that, but I think that would be a pretty well-rounded place to focus on. So I'm gonna probably get some rice and a bucket. Um, and and then the other thing that I've been getting into the last 2 or 3 years is just running, and keeping up my fitness in that way as far as like breathing goes. Uh, and that's been really useful just in general life, but also at matches. When you get really amped up before a stage, your heart rate goes up, which mine definitely does. It's the highest it'll be me just standing there on the first stage at nationals. And if I'm fit, just as far as like cardio wise, then it affects me less.
Sure.
And so then I'm able to think clearly and have a really higher heart rate, because that's normal. So I've done that. I do that a couple times a week or whatever, and so that's kind of what it is for the physical fitness training.
Yeah, much like your training that you're trying to do speed wise, right? Your ceiling for cardio is higher, so a higher heart rate doesn't affect you nearly as much.
Yeah, it doesn't freak me out. It doesn't. It's not like that pound. Like my heart rate can be at 170, and it doesn't feel like I'm gonna die.
Right. Let's see. Oh, here we had one. Kind of taking it off of your training as someone that you got to be pretty into the sport, wanting to shoot worlds and figuring out how to qualify, stuff like
Yeah,
that. So there was a question on what do you feel the org could do better to help promote the sport?
yeah, and I think this comes down to being like communicating with the membership, which I think there's been obviously some problems with communication with the membership in the past. And just even recently, just because it affects me more because I'm, interested in qualifying, is getting that information sent out to the membership. And like when like the qualification uh, policy for World Shoot 2029 in Italy was not even, to my knowledge, emailed out to the membership, which it seems like that would be a pretty good place to start, as far as communication.
Pretty
Uh,
simple too.
it's not that hard, right? I mean, maybe I missed it. If I'm wrong, like let me know. Like send me, maybe I did get an email and it was at the bottom of the new, a news thing or whatever's going on that like here's the qualification process. Maybe that's what it is. But I heard about it from a friend. You know, 6 days later than it was posted. I would think it was posted on January 1st. The qualification process, and then there's a lot of stuff that's going on in the background from matches that and people setting up matches and discussion that's going on. I on you like, hey, we need to have qualification be at this match because if this isn't a qualifying match, then no one's going to show up. That kind of thing. Like if US IPSC Nationals is not a qualifying match, no one's going to it. That's just how it is. Like, doesn't matter if it's a good match. Like, no one's going to go to it. And so, it should not reflect. It shouldn't be that people. I don't know exactly how to say it. It should be based on what the best qualification process could be, and not based on I need to fill this match. You know. And so that's kind of a little bit of the problem with the policy as far as it goes. And I'm just talking about World Shoot policy because it's on top of the mind. But, there are people that are going to get really good in the next 2 years, and they will not have an opportunity to qualify because they've missed most of the qualification process. So if you shorten the timeline, it allows the best current people to qualify for teams and go and represent the US. Now that's worse for people like me or you who have been in the sport for longer, because we get to use that as an advantage and spend more time qualifying. But it's also worse for the org who's or for the US who's having people represent the country at a world shoot. Because you may not have the best teams. And the other thing, one more thing, is the element of consistency for qualification. So having best 3 out of 6 matches, that means you get half of your matches as throwaways. That does not reward consistency as much as having it be like 3 out of 4, which is what I think it was in the past few world shoot cycles. So you're giving people like 3 matches to either like DQ at or have really bad gun problems or whatever it is. And so then again, like if the goal is to qualify the best people for a team, then it should, you want the people that have equipment that works, you want the people that are consistent from match to match, that kind of thing. So I guess those are my ranting bits.
Okay. I mean, it's rightfully so, right? It's supposed to be the biggest contest in our sport. You would think that they would put a little more on it, and I think, unfortunately, a lot of that has to do with we're USPSA and we do our things our own way, even though technically we're still a member of IPSC, but we still do things our own way.
Yeah, I don't know, I don't know what we get from that, yeah, it's interesting.
I got this last question. I saved it for the last because I think most people can kind of benefit the most from this. And it was interesting. This is one of the only questions I gave you ahead of time because I didn't want you to feel stumped in case you had to think about it. And that is, if you had to pick 3 staple or 3 favorite drills for practice, what would they be?
Yeah. Okay. So I got 2 pretty quickly, and then the last one it took me a little bit longer. But anyway, in no particular order. So none of these are more important than the other one. I think the drill of like transferring the gun from one hand to the other and to work on one-handed shooting is really, really useful. Not only in like improving the one-handed skills, but just improving gun handling and safety. So that's just having the gun in one hand and then transferring it to the other hand, getting a sight picture, transferring it back, getting a sight picture. Maybe you're switching up your stance when you're doing that, and working on safe gun handling, where your trigger finger is not in the trigger, pulling it randomly at different times. I know you've had a recent experience with this. No, you didn't. No. I mean, we all have at different times. So I mean, I wasn't actually thinking of that. I just started to bring it up. You posted the video, so
I did post the video to show people, to remind myself to not be a dumbass, and to show that shit happens.
Yeah. So that's
a moment of it.
So yeah, for safe gun handling, for just the skills of one-handed shooting, which definitely one-handed shooting improves freestyle as well. And so just doing that in dry fire, transferring the gun back and forth. Then the next one is like a classic, and it's on the top of my mind because I've been working on it recently, is El Pres. So turn and draw, 6 reload 6. I have only shot that in a match like twice. I think other people have shot it way more, but it tests a lot of things, and so that's one for sure. Not necessarily in live fire all the time, but definitely in dry fire. The turn and draw is a really good test of getting your index right and having your feet positioned after movement.
Yeah.
And so I've been getting a lot from it lately. And then the third one uh, is 30 hours of draws. So just draws to a sight picture, but 30 hours of it, not straight, but spread out. So this goes back to like the consistency piece. So maybe it's 5 minutes a day, but drawing the gun to a target for an accumulative 30 hours. And by the time like this will doing that will answer all of the questions about like what your grip should be, or what, like your technique for the draw should be, or what is efficient for a draw. You can skip all of that, all of those questions, and you don't even have to ask anybody about them. And you can just do 30 hours of draws. And you'll learn a lot more than just like the draw. You'll learn a lot about like presentation and the connection that you need between both your hands. And that, if that counts as a drill, that's definitely one.
I mean, it's a drill, right? Got to draw, right?
Yeah, that one's huge. I do a lot of draws, and I
Where'd you come up with that number?
I came up. I got a lot of questions at one point about like specific little. I still do specific little things, like nuanced things of where's your support hand meet the trigger guard on the draw, whatever. And then I was thinking about how I figured that out, and that it would be easier. It would be like a default answer to give people, instead of trying to tell them what is in an individual need, and rather give them just an amount of time to do something. So 30 hours is something that can be done in 2 days, or it can be done in 3 months.
I'm just wondering if you've mathed it out, and I'll math it here live because I'm pretty sure I did the math correct.
I did at one point, but yeah, I don't know right now.
So 30 hours, put 60 minutes in, that's 1,800 minutes.
Okay.
And if you divide that by 5 minutes a day, it's 360.
Hey.
So it's almost 5 minutes a day for a year, give or take a sick day or Christmas morning, whatever.
Yeah, draw the gun exclusively for 5 minutes every single day for a year, and you got it.
There you go.
Yeah. And then you could probably figure out how many draws that is, but I think that the time is more interesting than the amount of repetitions. But
for sure.
So yeah, I thought it was less than that. I didn't realize it was a full year, but I like that.
Yeah, that worked out.
5 minutes a day. 5 minutes a day for an entire year. I was not that smart in figuring that out before the 30-hour thing. That was a coincidence.
We'll just call it a happy little accident.
I'm now taking credit for being that smart, but not right now. So
take the credit and run with it. Awesome.
But that's my favorite one. If it's any drill for anyone to do, it would be that.
Which is, man, it's so crazy, and I'm happy to see a lot of the higher level guys start talking about it. Your favorite drill, being one of the top pistol shooters in the world, is the draw.
Yeah.
Which, if you harken back 5 years ago, 10 years ago, most people were saying, the draw doesn't matter. I was one of them. I said it. And what a big change. But also, you're seeing a lot of the top level guys boil down to the basics and fundamentals. It's always been known when you get to that level, you learn and find out that's what it is in whatever you're doing, whatever sport, whatever discipline. All the younger people and all the newer people into it. Oh, I want to do the fancy like run and do all these fancy drills. I want to set up stages for every practice. That's not what most of these guys are doing. Not for a majority of their training.
Yeah, the fundamentals have to, because if you're good at them, that means you can do them when it matters.
Right.
and those are the things that are important, and they have to be there. They have to be very, very ingrained.
Yeah.
And the draw takes care of a lot of them. Which I don't know, people have different fundamentals, but for me, fundamentals mean that I can look somewhere and then the gun shows up there with my grip that I want.
Might as well be a draw, but that also means that is the same mannerisms of a transition.
Exactly. So that's why the draw then becomes so much more, especially if you're going to do it every day for a year, which I know that I've done. I know I've probably in the last year I've done, maybe 60 hours of draws or whatever. And it is a transition. It's a grip assembly after a period of movement. You're going from none of your hands being on the gun to both of them assembled on the gun properly in under a second. And then a shot being whatever it is. But if you're doing also draws that some of them may include trigger presses, then you're working on that as well. And so, yeah, I don't take that one back yet. I think the last time I was on this podcast, I talked about the draw too.
Yes.
Maybe.
I think you're right.
I might have. Maybe. I don't know if it'd come up with the 30 hours thing, but if I talked about it then too, then I'm sorry, but you get
No,
what you get.
I don't think I would have made that correlation twice. Not like that. I was just doing the math. I'm like, holy shit, there's no way. Like, did he actually math this out to be this like, you smart?
No, I did not. Maybe I didn't actually come up with the 30 hours. Maybe it was on a phone call with a friend of mine, and he would be smart enough to math it out in that period of time that he was like, what about 30 hours? And I'd be like, well, sure.
30 sounds good.
So maybe it's not me.
Nope. From this point on, it's all you.
Okay.
Perfect. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome having you on.
Yeah, thanks, Tony.
I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your experiences and sharing your knowledge that you've gained. And I'm really rooting for you for 2026. I know I'll see you on the production optics team again.
Hopefully. And
will.
rooting for you too. I know there's some stuff coming, so it's gonna be good.
There is some stuff coming. I appreciate it. And yeah, we'll be doing some more stuff soon. Where can everyone find you? I know they can find you on the Hit Factor podcast as an occasional co-host, sleeping head.
Yeah, Hit Factor podcast for all the versions of myself. And I put up as all of my match videos go on YouTube. All of them since 2017 are up there. And then on Instagram at jclay94. And then go check out the World Shoot series that Hunter Constantine did on YouTube. That should not be too difficult to find.
Yeah, I'll link it in the show notes. I'll link the one that is Jay specific, and then you can piece. Hopefully, you guys are smart enough to piece it together.
Yeah, if not, then.
But awesome, dude. We'll have to do this again sooner than we did the last one. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, whenever. It is always fun. Thanks, Jack.
Awesome. Thank you, brother. We'll talk to you soon.